Hello, everybody. It's me, Mrs. Cubbage, and it is etiquette class, and it's going to be a very interesting one. Etiquette class with Mrs. Cubbage is sponsored by Vibrant Souls Health and Wellness. You can find them on Instagram, or you could email them at vibrantsouls@gmail.com. Etiquette class with Mrs. Cubbage will begin in just a moment. Well, this week's etiquette class has to do with traveling, but not only just randomly traveling, I don't know, to the store, to downtown, whatever, enter your town's name. This is specific for when you go, or if you go, to New York City. Yes. Mr. Cubbage and I and friends went to New York City, and it was mine and Mr. Cubbage's first time in the city of New York. We stayed in Manhattan. We ran all over the place. We had dinners there, ate there, did a lot of things right there in the Times Square, Manhattan area. Went to Rockefeller Center, saw a friend, did a lot of different really cool experiences like Rise NY, the Top of the Rock, which our friend got us into. So a lot of really cool things. So I was thinking about the etiquette, a lot of things that you need to know when you are traveling to New York City. And I got a lot of advice from people who have been to New York City, who have lived in New York City, and even advice from some novices who had only been to New York less than a handful of times. And so it was very interesting to get these different and of course, while we were in New York, I got a lot of texts and messages and see if you could do this, see if you could do that. And it was only over the Memorial Day weekend. So we only had 3 days. And it really, if you think about it, about 2.5 days, honestly. So, so a lot of the things that people said we should do, we didn't get the opportunity to do, but we did do a lot of stuff. So I'm going to go into 15 unwritten rules to know before visiting New York City. Now, I'm getting this from a thing called cntraveler.com. And you could, of course, type in their search engine, things to know before going to NYC. Now, I'm just going to go straight. They've got a great article right there about exactly what it is that you need to know. But I'm just going to read the main points of the 15 things you need to know. 1, plan for traffic delays. Now, this is something that we did plan for when we were traveling. We figured that if we left at 8 a.m., we probably, it's about 5.5 hours, especially if you stop to gas up the car because we drove, or stop to get something to eat, or even just for a bathroom break. So we knew that we had to accommodate for the for those little things. We thought maybe we'd get to town around 3, but then I tacked on a few more hours and I said maybe around 5, and I guess we got there around 4. So that worked out a little bit in our favor. Also in this article, it says to use public transportation. Now, we did not get into the subways or anything like that. However, we did get on a hop-on, hop-off bus and tooled around the city a bit. So that was actually pretty cool. If you are a fancier of watching shorts on YouTube, we actually have some shorts of things that we did while we were in New York City. And hopping on and off that bus was actually one of them. So check it out. Now, this one actually kind of made me laugh. It says, that subway car is empty for a reason. Now, that, like I said, we did not take the subway, but I just wanted to read this little bit to you. Never get on an empty subway car because there's probably a good reason for it. Maybe it's the air conditioning or heat not working, somebody's grocery bags that have exploded in its indeterminable contents all across the floor, the possibility of encountering a stomach-churning odor of some kind. The list is endless. Instead, stuff yourself into an airless packed car and trust that there are 100 different reasons why every New Yorker around you decided to do the same. And we did not go on the subway, so I cannot speak to that situation right there. They also, I'm sure you heard about how people cross the street. Oh my goodness, that stressed me out. I guess I really showed a side of myself that I don't normally show. The teacher came out of me that day. And this says how to safely cross the streets like a New Yorker. And it's really, as they say in this article, that jaywalking is so common. I mean, just groups of people just walking all over the place, walking in front of cars and buses and all kinds of things. So if you're not used to seeing that, please, and you do plan to visit NYC, please check out this article. Great stuff. Speed walking, that's obvious. That's pretty obvious there. Don't take up the whole sidewalk. And what they mean by not taking up the whole sidewalk is that people are constantly moving. They're on the go, they're late, they're trying to be on time for something. And if you're just kind of lollygagging and bopping around, people are going to be very angry with you. So make sure that you get out of the way, stand to the side. That's usually the best thing to do. Another thing they have on here is how far in advance to make reservations. Now, I'll be honest with you. We had planned this trip for months, almost a year, but we had to try to figure out what we knew when we were going to go. We just needed to figure out where we wanted to stay and what we wanted to do. And there were some restaurants that Mr. Cubbage and I had heard of that we wanted to try since we were going to be right there. And oftentimes they say to try to book it at least a couple months, or even once you realize you're going, book it then. And that's what we had to do. There were some of the restaurants that we went to that I stayed perched waiting for spots to open up. And that's exactly what you're going to have to do. So have a plan in place, know exactly what you want to do, because if not, it's going to be a mess. Carry cash. This was a very helpful tip, which is what we did. We carried cash with us to make sure, because a lot of places did not accept cash. A lot of places did not. So and it was easier, and now you won't have any charges on your credit card. Now, don't get me wrong. You do have to use your credit card for some things, but at least you wouldn't have all these other little charges. Oh, I want to buy these shirts for $10. I'm going to buy this candy for $15 or whatever. Make sure that you have cash. These folks also suggest that you sample local cuisine. One of the things we did do is we got some New York style pizza, which was very good. Also, another tip, how to properly hail a cab. Make sure you read this part of the article. It's very, very important. Another thing, Mind your business. Oh my goodness. There was so much going on around. Um, it really is best to just mind your business. Oh my goodness. Just mind your business. If you're minding your business in your own town, please mind your business while you're in New York City. I mean, there are people arguing and fussing and fighting, and, you don't want to end up in the middle of a silly argument that had nothing to do with you in the first place. Next, street interactions. Check it out. It's actually funny. This says, while in the suburbs, it's more common to smile and say hello to everyone who passes, but this is quite literally impossible in highly dense NYC neighborhoods. This doesn't mean you shouldn't offer polite smiles and greetings, but just say hello. If you're saying hello to your friendly neighborhood doorman or bodega cashier, for example, that's cool. But in the social environments, please go forth and they say, please go forth and shoot your shot, but you're guaranteed an odd look if you randomly say hello to every stranger you see on the street. And they've got more. If someone approaches you on the street and says, can I ask you a question or something like that, just keep walking unless you're willing to buy something, hand over your email for a petition, or end up on TikTok. So that's actually very, very good advice. On one of the shorts that we did, I believe it was for Little Italy Pizza, I was recording using my phone, and in fact, I'll show you my phone. On the back of my phone, it has this glittery hearts falling down and all that stuff. And a lady walked by and said, hey girl, or something like that. Oh, I like your phone. And I'm like, oh, thank you. And I think she was kind of surprised that I thanked her, because she even had this weird look like, why is she talking to me? And then, well, you spoke to me, so I don't know what what the problem is. Now, this is what's funny. Everybody that I spoke to who lived in New York or lived in New York City or the outskirts said this right here. If you're only spending time in Manhattan, you're doing it wrong. So it says New York City is not just Manhattan. Manhattan has much of what you know from NYC-based movies and TV. Carrie's West Village apartment, Eloise's penthouse, etc., etc. But New Yorkers don't stay in one borough. And they go on to talk about how you can take different ferries and stuff. Check out this article. It is great. And if you are seriously considering going to New York City, I agree. We spent, pretty much our entire time in Manhattan, but we did take a bus tour around to other neighborhoods, which was cool. But as I said, we did run into some novices who didn't really have the whole thing about New York. They didn't really know much about New York, but we took everybody's advice and kind of collaborated everything together. But it ended up being a nice trip. They have style tips, and they said New York is where you could let your personal style shine. It says on any given night you'll see models and fashion execs flaunting the latest design trends alongside deceivingly casual fits. Now that is a funny thing, because when we were walking through Rockefeller Center, we saw a model doing a fashion model shoot, and it was great. And then of course, she was standing in these huge high heels. And then after a while, after she got a little bit tired of that, you just saw her, So they helped her get out of these crazy 6-inch stilettos. And as they were doing that, I yelled over, I said, oh, you look good, or what, looking good, girl, or something. And so she and her team were happy I guess, to hear that. We've got some smiles and stuff like that. And lastly, the best time to visit NYC, they say, is autumn. So, as they say, winter, winter will then change to spring, summer to fall. Fall, as in the months of October and November, remain the most pleasant in which to stay in New York City. That the temperatures are actually quite pleasant and largely mild and sunny, with bright blue skies lighting up some seriously vivid foliage. So if walking around outside matters to you, it should. If it does, go in the autumn. So go in the fall. We went, like I said, during Memorial Day weekend. So technically the spring, late spring. It was a little rainy and drizzly at one point, but then we really did get some nice weather. But we did pack, Mr. Cubbage and I packed a variety of items. So we wanted to get prepared. Something else that we learned on YouTube was that it would be good to carry around a backpack with you. So you could have your water, you can, have a snack if you think you're going to be walking a lot. You could have a second pair of shoes because you're going to wear out your shoes in New York because of all the walking. I actually did wear out one pair of my shoes. So I need to get another pair of shoes, but because there is a lot of walking. However, having the backpacks were great because we had our umbrellas in there, just in case it rained. Then it did. We had winter hats in there for when we went on the boat, boat and or the bus tour, because it was quite windy, and it was perfect idea. So do your research, talk to friends, talk to people who have been in New York, whether they've only been once or twice, or if they've lived there. I know a lot of people that I work with that said that they lived in New York for 2, 5, 6, 12, 20 years or their whole lives. And, get the advice from people who know what they're doing and know where they've been and know where you should go and things that you might like. Take those words and those tips under serious consideration. Another thing that we didn't get the opportunity to do because we were there for such a short time is try to go to a Broadway show. We didn't get the opportunity to do that, but we do plan on doing that the next time we go. So I hope that these etiquette tips help you, especially on your quest if you decide to go and visit NYC. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I will see you again really, really soon. Bye.